Good evening, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to a beautiful Sunday evening. You're with me, Ethel Da Costa, and you're on the show Heart to Heart. Heart to Heart is brought to you in association with the MAC Clinic. The MAC Clinic is Malaysia's premier and pioneering aesthetic institution, and Heart to Heart is produced by Think Media. So as you find the page, we are all live right now. And come on to my page, Ethel Da Costa. Log in. I'm always excited to see you online with us because we have two extremely interesting guests today and very powerful women in their own ways. So Heart to Heart is live right now on Facebook, and you are with me, Ethel Da Costa. So great. When I started, Heart to Heart in the month of June, with the entire idea to create conversations that impact change, conversations that create influence, conversations that create uh, community change, through people, through leadership, by people being examples of who they are. It has been such a great pleasure for me to get all my guests from different parts of the world, from Malaysia, from India, from other places where I know such creative professionals, and they've all come and shared such interesting stories about their lives. What makes them tick, how they've impacted change in their own circles, and how I feel so good and inspired, having them on my show. So welcome again to a lovely Sunday evening. It's 7 o'clock in Malaysia and it's 4:30 p.m. in India. Heart to Heart today has two very interesting guests, two very powerful women in their own way, who are creating such a major difference, in the work that they are doing, in the lives that they are actually creating change and impact. So, let us welcome my first guest today, who is Cecilia. Cecilia has been a former aviation professional for the last 15 years, a young mother herself. A lot of things have happened in Cecilia's life, ever since we all know what happened to the travel industry, right? Because of COVID, and Cecilia had to kind of change her life and change everything that she knew to be familiar, and move into a very new direction, which she loves today. So Cecilia now is an environmental change maker and is also director of sales at Eda Straws. What Eda Straws is all about, Cecilia herself will tell us, and that's a lovely, interesting conversation of how even that role, or that a new role, as I would say, happened to her life now, because of COVID. So Cecilia drives what she does, as an environmental change maker through example. Her passion lies in saving Malaysia's rivers and oceans with garbage cleanups, with saying no to plastic, and reinforcing the use of eco-friendly food alternatives. Why I'm saying this is because I'm in the food industry myself. I think it is so important for us now to understand how to eat healthy, how to take care of ourselves, much more, better, positive way. And Cecilia is also now driving that new consciousness, so to say, in her community and with the industry verticals that she is part of. And that is what makes the conversation so interesting today. So log into my page, into Ethel Da Costa. Stay put there. Do not go anywhere else. And let us talk today about how we can get both my guests, who is Cecilia and Alice, who will also join us soon, on how we can influence youth to create great change in a community, and bring about positive leadership. So let me just bring Cecilia online with me. She is there. Cecilia. Hi, Cecilia.
Hi,
Hi.
Ethel. Good evening to you. Hi, good
Good
evening, friends who are
evening.
online with us.
Good
Yeah,
evening. Good
thank you
evening.
for
Good
having
evening.
here. Thank you for having me here with you. It's my honor to be here.
You're most welcome. And we are live
Thank
right
you.
now. We are live. I can see, people getting onto our page. I can see a lot of chat and, comments already happening, saying hi. And welcome and all that. So yeah, so Cecilia, how do you feel? How do you feel right now?
Yeah, I'm feeling really great, to be here chatting with you and with all the friends who are joining us. Of course, I'm exciting. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
it's
really happy to be here today. Thank you for having me
thank
here today.
no, thank you. Thank you for making the time because I understand it's a Sunday. I understand it's also family time. But the heart-to-heart conversations happen on Sunday because idea is to engage people and have them join us and also share what we love to share with our audiences. So, are you ready? Are you ready for the interview? Are you ready
Yes,
to kind
of
of
course. Please, yeah, please go ahead, Ethel. Yeah,
let's
I'm
let's
ready.
get let's get
Yeah,
straight into it, right? So great. So
yes,
you have been an aviation professional for the last 15 years. You were telling me, correct?
yes, exactly. Yes, correct. Yeah,
Um, and a lot of things have changed, ever since COVID has happened. So
exactly.
as a former aviation professional in the travel industry, what how has it changed your life, Cecilia? Can you share that with our audiences?
Yes, of course. Yeah, this COVID-19 crisis has, hit the tourism industry really hard, especially the aviation industry. And it's really sad, to see a lot of my colleagues, they lost their job. And some is
Hmm.
even worse, husband and wife are from the same industry. So these are unexpected. And both they lost their job, at the same time. So,
Hmm.
they are the sole income for the family. So it's really sad, to see this happening. Yeah.
Correct.
So
Yes.
me myself, yeah, I'm one of them because when I was taking my unpaid leave, and all of a sudden the company said, they need to do retrenchment. So I am
Yes.
actually one of them. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Oh,
So
sorry
yeah,
to share.
but
Yeah.
exactly. But like people say, when there's a crisis, there's always an opportunity. So
Yes.
even this thing happened, but yeah, life goes on. So we have to look up for opportunity. Yeah, so if you know how to
That,
grab the opportunity and you'll be thankful of anything that you have with you, and life will
mm,
treat you well. So I always believe this, yeah, in my life.
that's a
Yeah,
wonderful way of looking at it, Cecilia. And I'm so happy that you
yeah,
have such a positive take, on. Yeah, I guess when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade, right?
exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
right. Yeah.
And I would also say, being a cabin crew is really one of the world best job in the world. That is why
Yes.
I was
Yeah.
stuck in the
And you.
industry for 15 years. And when I was way younger, I told myself, okay, I will only, come here to gain some experience and to see the world for, maximum 5 years. But who
Yes.
knows?
Yeah.
I
Because
was stuck there for 15 years.
yeah, and
Yes, that's
15 years
life.
is a long time
And
too. It's a long time too.
exactly. But of course, within these 15 years, I was not with the same airlines. I had 8 years experience with Malaysia Airlines and
Okay.
1 year experience with a private jet and another 6 years with the latest company, which is Asia X. And all these three companies, have given me a big impact in my life. Yeah. So
Wow.
I'm very
Wow.
grateful and really thankful that, I had this experience, for myself. Yeah,
Yeah, that sounds awesome. And it sounds very exciting. I've always loved travel
exactly.
myself. I've been traveling my whole life. And yes, COVID has kept me grounded as well.
Yes.
Great. Yeah. So Cecilia,
Yes, who doesn't
you
love
know,
travel? Traveling is life. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely, yes.
So
Because I call it soul expansion in that sense. Correct? Yeah.
exactly,
Awesome.
yes.
Awesome. Awesome. Good to know
And
that.
just
Good to
because
know
of yeah, because of this COVID and all of us, everything has changed. Our lifestyle and our expectation about our future. It brings us to another levels of life.
that. Yes.
So yeah, but I think all these are challenges that we have to go through in our life. So as long as we don't give up, in believing, life is going to be great. So we are good.
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah, nothing
Correct.
is impossible. Yeah.
So what would you say, Cecilia, have been your life lessons in that sense?
Okay. For myself, I always keep myself, a very positive mindset, no matter what happened,
Mm.
to me or to my life. This is probably, the impact from my childhood, because I grew up in a single parents family. So
Okay.
it wasn't easy, for people who live in a single parents environment. So
Yes.
I've been through some tough time when I was a child. So, but I also believe that, that shaped me to a stronger person.
Mm-hmm.
So I always keep myself, motivated, and every day, when I wake up, it's another brand new day. So
Yes.
I don't bring, whatever that happened in the past, because the past can't change your future, but
Yeah. Absolutely
you can
correct.
change your future yourself. So for me, I think, keeping yourself motivated is very important. Yeah.
Hmm.
So stop complaining, and just keep moving. I think that's what I've been practicing, yeah, in my life. And I think, yeah, I'm all good, I would say. Yes, I'm so
Right.
blessed to have, a beautiful family members, and I'm so blessed with, the people that I have met in my life. Yeah,
I believe the trick is to keep moving forward. No matter what happens in life,
exactly.
you keep moving forward, correct? And I
Exactly.
believe,
Yes.
you know, I believe this past 2 years has helped us to appreciate what we have and be extremely thankful and grateful, of the fact that
Exactly. Yes.
we are healthy, we have food on the table, right? There's so much grief
Yes.
and pain out there, that we know of. Yeah,
Yes. Be grateful
yeah,
and thankful. Yeah.
yes, be grateful and thankful. Wow. So yes,
Yeah.
so Cecilia, good to know that you have kept your spirits up. You've kept your heart open, correct, to changes happening. You've embraced change so well, because as you said, all of us have been such travel buffs, and now we're all kind of grounded. And you found yourself also
Exactly. Yeah.
literally being grounded.
Yes.
Yeah, in that sense, yeah.
Yes. We
Uh,
have to accept the facts. Yeah.
Correct. What I find very interesting is the change that has happened in your life in this last 2 years, because from your aviation background, suddenly to kind of to become into to get into such a very empowering role, as I would call it, of being an environmental change maker. I find that very powerful. To kind of
Yes.
yes, because it is a huge responsibility, Cecilia, and we all
Yes.
know that. We have abused our planet, you know, so
Yes.
much in that
Absolutely.
sense, right? Correct.
Yes.
So for
Yes.
you to,
Absolutely.
you're a young girl, you're newly married, you're a young mom yourself, you've had such a exciting career in aviation, and now as an environmental change maker, correct, and a
Yes.
environmentally conscious citizen, as I would call it. Can you tell us
Yes.
about your role, right? Your role now, because you're also director of sales of Eda stores, and I'm very
Yes.
kind of
Yes.
very keen to understand what that is all about, and so
Yes.
are
Yes. Of course.
our
Yeah.
listeners too. Why does it appeal to
Yes.
you
Of
so
course.
much? Tell us about it.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I'm very thankful that, I got this business opportunity when, the company announced me for retrenchment. So,
Right.
it happened for a reason, I believe. So, I'm very happy that, this friend of mine introduced these products to me, and he asked me whether I'm interested to, venture into this business with him. And when
Hmm.
I got to know about this product, I'm extremely amazed, and I'm extremely impressed, with the product, because I've been traveling around the world and I have never seen such a product. And with this technology and innovation, is definitely bring a very huge impact in our earth and our future life, and for our kids
Correct.
in the future. So
Yes.
basically, what we are doing is, we are manufacturer of a biodegradable straw. So what's so unique about this straw is, the straw are made from broken rice and tapioca. So
Oh,
basically, this straw, yeah, they are edible. So they
okay.
are just like a food product. So it doesn't cause any negative impact for our environment.
Do
Yeah.
you have the straw with
So
you? Can we see that? Can we see
yes,
the
of
straw?
course. Yes, of course. Yeah, so this is our gift box, and it's very convenient to carry around. As when you go to some of the restaurant nowadays, they don't provide you any straw. So it's
Mm-hmm.
good to, keep one box with you and in your bag. So this is how it looks like. And
Okay.
it's really hygiene, with a properly pepper wrap. And this straw is certified by Halal and ISO 22000 and GMP, and as well as gluten free. So it's highly recommended, and it's totally safe for children as well. So
Hmm, hmm.
if they accidentally chew or bite the straw, it's completely safe.
Can I
Yeah.
see that straw again? Can I see that straw
Oh
again?
yes, of course. Yeah, maybe I should just open up and show it to
Yeah.
you. Give
Yes,
me a
because it
second. Yeah.
sounds so interesting, to kind of just
Yeah, this is how it
put it
looks
into
like.
a, oh,
Yes,
and
this is how
that
it
is
looks like.
rice, you're saying. It's rice, right?
Yes, this
It's
is
rice and
rice and
tapioca.
tapioca.
Oh,
Exactly. Yeah.
that is good. Yeah, that
Yes.
is okay. Yeah,
And
please tell us.
for
Tell
people
us more.
for people like me, I have a habit of, biting, when I'm having my drinks, since
Hmm,
child. So
hmm.
I believe it is completely safe. Because for some people, they were complaining, which very common in the market now, paper straw. They complain
Yes.
that, it turns soggy really fast, and,
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
it doesn't taste good when when it turns soft. So
Yeah,
I think this is a
I agree.
really, one of the best alternative to replace, paper straw and any other straw in the market right now. And for your information, a lot of people, they didn't know actually paper straw. They thought paper straw is an eco-friendly product. Yes, of course, it's eco-friendly as compared to plastic straw, but a
Okay.
lot of people, they didn't know. The paper straw they need are more energy intensive to produce, and the
Hmm.
production of paper straws actually uses more resources and emits more greenhouse gases, compared to plastic straw. So,
Not to mention cutting down of trees as well, isn't it?
exactly. And paper straw,
Yes.
is also deforestation.
Hmm.
They need the trees, to cut and to make into
Yes.
paper. So
Yes.
it's not really a good substitution for straw. So I guess that is why, when I first got to know about this product, I am really amazed, because
Hmm,
this
hmm.
doesn't cause any negative impact at all. Because in
Correct.
fact, if you throw in the ocean, this straw can decompose by itself, and even the turtle or the whale or any other fish eat them. They are just food for them. Yeah, it
Yes.
won't leave any negative impact to them. Yeah, even on the landfill, you just dispose them on the landfill, it can turn into fertilizer.
Hmm.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
and apart, yeah, it's really amazing, right? Yeah,
Yes, yes, yeah. I
and
like it. I love the idea. I love the idea. I think, I think more and more initiatives which are eco-friendly are required today. But then how did
exactly,
you
yeah.
kind of, from, as I said, from being an aviation professional, how did this particular turn in your life happen? It's very interesting for me to know that. And
Yeah. Yeah,
share
that
that
is
with
why
us.
I said I was lucky that when this thing happened, I was going through a retrenchment, and it happens that a friend of mine, he was sharing with me, are you interested, to venture
Hmm,
into
hmm.
this business? And myself, frankly speaking, previously, before I got myself into this eco-friendly product, I have no idea what is it, all about biodegradable or non-biodegradable, or what is
Okay,
compostable, or what's non-compostable. So
correct.
it's very important actually for us to explore and to find out more. What are the
Hmm,
things that actually cause a negative impacts to our environment? Like
correct.
for example, in the markets, like I've been flying last time, and
Hmm,
what are the most common things we can find in the market, especially we talk about straw, is paper straw and stainless steel straw. Yes, stainless steel straws are good, but stainless straw, it doesn't work well for those who have sensitive teeth. I have friends who purposely called me and told me, I think your straw is amazing, because I've been, doing my part, to be, to practice eco-friendly, but this stainless
correct.
steel straw, it doesn't work well on me, because I have tooth sensitivity, so it doesn't work well on her. So she
Hmm,
really
hmm, hmm.
appreciate, and she really loved this product very much as well. Yeah,
Okay. And
yeah.
initially, when we were kind of talking offline, you also mentioned to me about, Malaysia has a huge plastic problem, right? And a huge
Yes,
garbage problem too.
exactly.
Yeah. Any
And to
uh,
my surprise, Yes, and to
Yes.
my surprise, Malaysia ranked as the fifth global plastic polluter of the oceans. So
Fifth,
before
fifth
that,
global,
fifth
Cecilia,
global
can you,
ocean polluter.
can you repeat that clearly again so all our readers
Uh,
and listeners
yes,
online can hear? Fifth
the
global
fifth
polluter.
global plastic polluter of the ocean.
Oh my God.
Yes,
Okay.
we
And
polluted the
Malaysia.
oceans. That's really, really bad. Yeah. And,
Wow.
I have this
Wow.
experience. Malaysia is very well known for, its beautiful islands. A lot of tourists that come to our country is because of,
Yes.
we have these beautiful islands like Langkawi, Redang, Terengganu, and Sabah, the Sapi Island, Manuka Islands.
Yes.
They come here
Yes.
for scuba diving. So it's
Correct.
really sad, yeah, to see some part of the like I take Sabah as one good example.
Mm.
Sabah
Mm.
is really really one of my favorite place to visit because when the aircraft is landing into the island, you
Yes.
will be really amazed. You can see
Yes.
through the sea. You can see
Yes.
fishes and you can see the corals, and they're so beautiful. But
Correct.
some part of it, it's really sad, to see the plastic bottles are floating on top of the sea, and a lot of garbages around. It's really, to see this happening. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that is so
But
upsetting. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
I'm
And back then I
surprised. I'm
was in the
very
aviation.
surprised. Yes. Please continue.
Yeah, and back then I was in the aviation. It did cross, like my mind to think that why nobody really actually looking after this, and what would happen, if these kind of things keep going and people are not looking into this seriously. So,
Right.
it's going to cause a really big impact for our future generations. So
Yeah.
yeah, but I'm really glad, I'm really happy that, ever since I started this business, and I got to know a lot of organizations
Mm-hmm.
and associations, and they're actually putting a lot of efforts into this.
Yes.
And to share with you one of the organization that I came across lately,
Mm-hmm.
because we are trying to to share with them, this is amazing product to substitute, to
Okay.
replace a plastic straw and any other straw, and they really love this product very much because they think they really need this, in our environment. So
Correct.
they are also doing a lot of educations, and they're promoting this syllabus, to the local
Mm-hmm.
schools, to the
Mm-hmm.
children,
Okay.
to bring awareness and to educate them about the plastic pollution in our environment. So, which I think is really impressive, and I think they are doing a great job. So, to think back my time,
Mm-hmm.
in our
Mm-hmm.
school, they don't share this with us, and they don't really teach us or tell us what plastic cause, impacts to
Yes.
our environment. So I think
Correct.
this is a very good effort of them to initiate this. Yeah. So the young
Wow.
people, they should know the negative impact
Yes,
that plastic
absolutely.
bring to our environment.
And I think it begins like how we were saying, we were talking offline.
Yeah.
It begins at home when we start educating
Exactly.
our own
Yes.
children
Yes.
through
Yes.
examples, Celia. I mean, because you can say one thing and your actions could be something else. You know,
Exactly. You
but,
walk the
but
talk. Yes.
you have to walk the talk, right? On that note,
Yes.
we have a lot of comments happening online with us. People and friends who have all joined in from different parts. Okay, there's Jack, there's YC Tan, there's Jenny, there's Samantha. They've all sent all thumbs up and highs. There is Mimi. Mimi from Labuan is saying, "Hi, Ethel, great show. Thank you, Mimi, for being there with us." Thank you. There's Lena also here on the show saying, great topic. Yes, Lena, I completely agree. I think these conversations need to be had because it's so important. We're all raising young people in our homes and we have to walk the talk. So if you're talking about saving our planet, it starts with us. So thank you, Lena. Thank you for that comment. And thank you for being on the
Yes.
Heart to Heart show. There is YC Tan who's saying, yeah, we have to save our planet and, contribute. So there's also another comment from Samantha who
Yeah,
says,
Samantha.
Samantha is saying,
She's a
I
great
like,
supporter of our Edastro. Yeah. Thank you,
really?
Samantha.
Yeah, she's saying,
Yes.
I like this rice straw so much. Yeah, I like it too. I think I'm going to just drop it into my handbag the next time, because I'm out so often and I'm eating out so often. And like you said, the paper straws suck. The plastic straw
Yeah.
sucks even more. But I think the
Yep.
rice straw, is the alternative. So thank you,
Yes.
Samantha. Thank you, Samantha, for that. There's also Maxwen who's saying, such an amazing product. I completely agree. Thank you for being online with us. Faisal is a big, huge fan from Bangladesh who joins us every Sunday and every Friday. So Faisal is saying, hello, Ethel Da Costa, greetings from Bangladesh. Greetings from Malaysia. Thank you, Faisal, for being there. There is Blasio from Goa who's sending me heart emojis. So big heart to you too. Thank you, Blasio, for joining in. And he says, hi, I'm from Goa. I love this, I love the fact that we have different friends from different parts of the world who come onto the show, onto Heart to Heart every Sunday to participate and share what they have to say. There's also Chia, who's online, who's saying, thank you. This is for you, Cecilia saying, thank you for saving our planet. Yes, Cecilia is doing her bit. I
Thank
wish and
you.
hope that all of you online whose names I have just mentioned are also, going to do their bit to save the planet and, to also contribute and to do what we can through example by walking our talk. On that, there's a nice compliment coming to you too, saying Cecilia is so pretty and elegant.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Carrie. Yeah.
Great. On that note, we have another very, very special guest who's waiting in the back room, to come online and meet us. I'm very inspired by what, I met Alice sometime in June 2020, introduced by a common friend of ours. And I
Mm,
completely, my first impression and reaction to Alice was to completely like her, because she has such a lovely energy that I also kind of tapped into, very authentic, a woman full of integrity. And then I learned what all that she does, which made me like Alice even more. So Alice is a very well known beauty professional in Malaysia. She's a founder of Emma Liz's, which is a very it's a 25-year-old beauty establishment, very well known in Malaysia. And I've seen how she works with her team and how she works with her staff. Alice walks the talk, and that is what made me love her even more. So there's a huge welcome to Alice Lim, who joins us today in this edition of Heart to Heart with Ethel Da Costa. Alice is the founder of Girls Empowered. Girls Empowered is an organization that supports training, towards employment-focused livelihoods for young girls from marginalized communities in Malaysia. Alice is also the founder of Community Elite, and she will tell you all about it in our conversation today. Community Elite is a NGO platform which supports charity initiatives and food drives for single mothers and fathers. You know, this is a topic very close to my heart because, like how you mentioned, Cecilia, right? That you come from from a single parent format, right?
yeah.
I'm a single mom myself to to very individualistic, independent daughters, who are in different
Yes.
parts of the world now, and I'm very proud of them. And I'm sure that there are a lot of single moms out there, a lot of single dads out there who do a great job, with raising their
Precisely.
children. Yes, and and
Yes.
and um, and wholesome individuals from what I can see, because I've met so many young men and women who have been raised by single moms and single dads. So I'm so happy to have Alice on Heart to Heart today, joining us. And let me just bring her online with us right now. Alice,
Hello. I could feel the
Hi,
hi.
energy from
Alice.
backstage.
Yeah, it is all. It is
Energy, woo!
pulsating, right?
Nice to meet
It's
you.
really
Yeah.
pulsating. I have, to tell you the truth, Alice, I have goosebumps. I can actually feel it
Ah,
running through my arms. Yes, it's beautiful.
so
Beautiful.
Cecilia, I could hear
And
you at backstage talking about the straw. I think my son would love you. He brings containers in his backpack whenever he goes out. So
Really?
definitely your straw is something he would love to have.
Great, great, great. He's such an environmental guy.
such a
I
great
know
Yeah,
idea.
very
No?
great
It's a
he's a
initiative.
great
vegan.
idea.
He's a vegan,
Yeah,
Yeah.
so everything must count
I see.
energy. How does it
Wow.
boost up the earth energy and all that stuff?
Yes, 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 yes. Very rare, very rare, to find this kind of man nowadays, frankly
Yes.
speaking. Yeah,
Yes.
it's great. Yeah, I think he's doing a good job. Yeah.
Mm,
You are a
Great.
proud mom, I think. Yeah,
I am.
yeah. You must have done a good job, educating them well. Yeah.
I'm just so blessed, truly by them.
Yes,
They are
yes,
just
yeah, it's a blessing. Yes,
true.
it's a good blessing.
So that's why I was saying
Alice,
yes.
welcome. Welcome to Heart. So wonderful to have you.
Oh, so good to be here. I
Great.
love the
So how
energy in the room.
Yeah, it's completely. It's like I keep saying, energy is everything. If you put the right vibe out, everything multiplies and comes back to you, in that same strength, correct?
Yeah.
And we've been also
Exactly, yes.
we've been saying it, we say it, we walk the talk, we know so, and therefore it makes us such empowered women, isn't it?
Woo!
Exactly, yes.
Yeah,
Beautifully said.
yes, yeah, absolutely.
Agree. Yeah.
I love what Alice does, and therefore it is a complete honor for me to have Alice on to Heart to Heart. So, Alice, let us just jump straight into it because all our online audiences are waiting. So, tell us how Girls Empowered started and what activities do you conduct under this organization?
Okay. Emily's started in 1993. Okay,
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
it's a beauty salon.
Yes.
So at the same time, we just don't want to just be doing business. We want to really be giving back to society. So we started very small by just participating and helping in orphanages. So and
Hmm.
that's when I found out that usually after about 18, all the those who stays in the orphanage have to actually leave already. They have to find job, and most of
Yes.
the time they don't have parents to actually help them, guide them, or in career path. And most of the time they will probably end up as probably waiters or salesperson and things like that. Yet some of them actually have much skill, all right,
Hmm.
much skill
Hmm.
and much interest, but yet nobody to guide, nor they were given opportunity to further their studies. So
Correct.
so I have this idea that, if every establishment, every company, every corporate would just take one or two of them, instead
Hmm.
of just leaving them out there, and then with no guidance, the cycle will just begin. They will meet somebody, and then it didn't turn out right. If the girl got pregnant, and then here it is, she can't take care, and you will go into the orphanage again. So when will it end?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes. Yes.
and I was thinking that if any corporate were to take one of them, even the guys, take
Hmm.
one of them, if you're interested in accounting, I could sponsor you through
Correct.
by what you working part-time with me, and then minus the salary or something like that, but journey with like mentor the person. So but before I could advocate, I need to do it myself. So
Yes.
as in a beauty line, so I will ask any of them, they are interested in the beauty line, and that's how
Hmm.
Girls Empowered started. So we take them in, we
Okay.
give them allowance, we train them up with the skills, the theory, the practical. But above that, our core purpose is
Hmm. Hmm.
actually to change their mindset, you know that
Yes.
they have potential in them that they might not know, that they are
Correct.
more, that they are not a victim, that they have to start from now not thinking as themselves as a victim, that they would always need help, but that they themselves have the potential to help themselves. It doesn't have to
Hmm.
The orphanage mindset is, this is my right. I'm a sad person. I'm a victim. You have to help me. I'm entitled to this, entitled to that. So we
Yes.
have to change them. We have to change that mindset for them to progress.
Hmm.
So what we
Hmm.
did. So we started taking in girls from other marginalized or orphanage, and then train them up. And then once they are good, and sometimes halfway through, they don't go through all the way in the beauty. Then sometimes halfway through, then they realize, hey, I want to do
Hmm.
this and others. And that's how we get sponsors to connect them. And then they can
Okay.
further studies in that.
Okay. Wow. That is a lot of
Awesome.
work.
Wow.
That's a lot of work, Alice.
It's
Yes.
not work. When you see the transformation, you don't feel like it's work. It's like
Yeah.
journeying your own child like that. So it's a
Correct.
lot
Yeah.
of
Satisfaction.
yes,
Yeah.
joy of it. So it don't feel like work. It feels like you
Hmm.
see this girl and then transform and become more confident, and she begin to speak better. She is not so shy anymore. Self-esteem is better.
Hmm.
That,
Hmm.
that
Yeah.
itself,
Wow.
This is so
every day
amazing.
looking
Yeah.
forward to that. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yes, I'm so
It's
proud of you. Yeah, Alice, you're doing a great
transformational.
job. Yes, yes.
It's transformational work,
I'm
right?
really
To kind of
proud of you.
actually,
Yeah.
to kind of change somebody's lives, and not only just change it by also giving them
Yes,
life skills, right?
Yeah.
Amazing, Alice. Amazing. If I had a
yes.
hat, I would be tipping it for you.
To
Let me
us,
salute you instead.
us.
Yeah, me too.
Let me salute you instead. Yeah. Wow.
Salute.
Yeah. Well done. Really well done. Awesome.
Yes,
Well
yes.
done.
We need more
But we
people
can
like
only
you.
do
We need
it
more
Yeah,
people like
together.
Alice.
Just one person can't change a lot. So and now if everybody would just pick
exactly.
up on this idea, that will be so good. And to change one more life and to end that cycle. Yeah.
Yes.
And to just
Yes.
mentor them, even in whatever they want. It could be anything at all, but skill transfer and things like that. But just to have someone like like an auntie or an
Hmm.
uncle, to talk
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
relate, to
Correct.
ask questions,
Yes,
because,
yes.
yeah, if not, they will ask the peers, the friends, which actually don't give them
Yes.
good advice.
Yes. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. You're so right. And on that note, Alice, because I've been in Malaysia for almost now quite some time, so I've understood the dynamics. What is your opinion, on violence against women in Malaysia? Because you're in the field, you see it.
My opinion,
Yes.
actually, violence against women is a mental health thing, I feel.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
and for the woman to stomach it, probably due to self low esteem,
Mm-hmm.
and past hurts experience, and thinking that they could not be more out there. So,
Yes.
and for the one that is doing it, is also because of past hurt, past
Hmm.
rejection, and they find kind of, they may love the person, but they find power because they don't get that power elsewhere, and they find
Hmm.
that this person is under their care, and they find that it is they find that this is where they can vent out power. So yeah, so that's why and also the stress of life, the rejections in life, if you don't know how to handle it, and you find a victim in your home. So it can be a
Yeah.
woman, it can be, it can be the other way around. It also can be a child, and it's just
Right.
vent out
Correct.
that stress. And probably if the person has been abused before, it's kind of
Hmm.
like replaying what was programmed in the childhood, and then it kind of feel right because it's been
Correct.
programmed that way. And speaking to some women who has gone through this, sometimes they find it's more comfortable in that abuse relationship than to leave
Mm-hmm.
that abuse relationship, the abusive
Hmm.
relationship.
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
if they leave, they don't know, they are not sure of what's going to happen. Is an unknown thing to them. But
Hmm.
in the abusive relationship, they know what's going to happen next. It's like
Yeah. It's familiar. It's familiar.
familiar. That's the word. It's familiar. So
Yes.
it's is painful, but yet it's familiar.
Mm.
But to step out is fear. To step out is, is the society going to accept me? Will I make it in the society?
Correct.
Where will I go? What would I say? Can I take my child along? There's so many questions that is so unfamiliar that they will rather
Correct.
stay to what is familiar, what they can control. Once they
Yes.
that means they can control. If it's hurting them, they will control the
Yes.
hurt. But
Yes.
to step out of it is something that they can't control. They don't know. They're swing out. And then if they don't have a support system, so it's going to be a tough
Yes.
one.
My God, which means then, yeah. So I understand it because like how it's conditioning. It's familiar. It's also you create a comfort zone around it. I think we were also kind of saying that, right? And therefore, women, kind of stay back because, like you mentioned, the unknown is too scary to step out and take charge of your own life, right? In that sense. Wow. Okay. Yeah. It used to trigger me at some point of time, but I think I did so much of self work, because as a journalist, you're so exposed to the realities of what life is, right? Out there, no? Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. What do you think, Alice? What do you think is needed to create greater awareness on curbing violence against women? And if there are any efforts from your own side, into um, into the issue, right? Into handling the issue or correcting the wrongs, of this particular issue. If you can share that with us.
Correcting the wrongs will need to start
Yeah.
from
Yeah, we all agree that we require that greater awareness is required, right? In terms of curbing violence against women, but in your own work, because you are on the field, you see it at such close quarters. You are not sheltered in that sense, right? Of sitting in an ivory tower and talking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You see it in such close quarters. So what do you think is required? What is needed to create greater awareness in curbing violence against women?
More communication needs to be out there in any form, to
Mm,
tell
mm,
that there is hope, and there is a support system, and
mm, mm.
and also for the victim, that be assured that there is hope, be assured that they won't be discriminated, be assured that there is a support system, be assured that there is a lot of people that is willing to journey with them,
Mm,
and also
mm.
there is many establishment like WAO that is willing to help them through, even from
Yes,
legal to many other aspect as well, and yeah, there is support system, and they just need to be brave to step up, and it doesn't mean the end. Sometimes they love the
yes,
abuser too. It does not mean
yes,
the end, but just have to get out and stop it, and so that can rethink and
mm,
retalk again and recommunicate again. So awareness needs
correct.
to be there, and also for those who are not going through, especially we all women out who are successful, have stable lifestyle, we need to look out. We need to
Yes,
be sensitive. When we
yes,
ask people, how are you? We need to really mean what we say. How are you?
yes,
How are
yes,
you really?
absolutely.
When we go out lunch with our colleagues, we need to be aware what is going on, that we could be. Even one
Mm,
listening ear can make a lot of difference. Yeah.
correct. Yeah,
And those
yeah.
victims,
Mm,
they love to talk to people that is not connected in the family. They can pour out
mm,
because no strings attached, so they feel that it's easier. A lot of counseling that I've done are with women that I actually don't even see them. I
okay,
they just call
okay.
me at random, and yeah, and that's where they can really pour out. So for us out here, we really need to play our part in looking out. Yeah, just like we play
Correct.
our part in choosing the right straw when we go out.
Yes, Yes, yes,
All right.
absolutely. I was just going to ask Cecilia. Cecilia, do you have an opinion on that too? Do you feel what is your opinion,
Yes.
on it, right?
Yes, I agree with you, Alice. Abusive relationship has been going on for a long time, and out there's a lot of women they dare not speak out and they not share. They feel, maybe it's just our culture that we are shy and we feel this is shame, to share our
Mm,
family story to other people. So, but I think with nowadays generation, we have to change our concept. We have to change our mindset. If in the family you think this is not right, you have to seek for a professional for help, and
mm,
don't keep the problem to you and to yourself. And we need to seek for help. And for all these abusive people, they are actually very manipulative. They know how to control you. Yeah, they're really good. Yeah.
yeah,
And people who are mentally not so strong people, they could actually really how to say totally give up their life, and just live with it. So I think that's really sad. It's your life. You should step out. If you
yeah.
think that's not right, and you
Take
should
charge
make
of
the
it, right?
change.
Take charge of
Yes,
it.
take
Take
charge
charge
of
of
your
your
own
life.
life. Yes,
Yeah, take
yes,
charge of your own
correct.
life. Correct. Wow.
So yes.
True, correct. So this is really good because Alice has a point of view and Cecilia has a point of view. Of course, my points of view are very bold and very straightforward because yes, I believe that every woman must be herself, and must be her own individual, whether married or single, or or
Exactly.
separated or divorced, irrespective of that. You can't be, you can't let labels define who you are. In that sense, I come from that point of view. You need to be yourself at all point of times, and that's where you find your voice, and that is how you stand up for yourself. This is good. This is really good. I'm
Exactly.
really
Yes.
liking. I'm really loving this.
Yes.
Alice, as I said, I'm hugely inspired with what you do because I watch your work so closely. Can you tell us a little bit more of your charity events, especially charity activities, especially in the community elite? Because I've seen you in flood situations, I've seen you in some jungle that you go, driving. I've seen all your sunsets and sunrise photos. You have all this food, yeah, you have all this food parcels and containers, and in your cars are getting stuck in all this. I follow your work, you see, because it is very close to my heart as well. At some point of time, I also want to do things, with you. But can you tell us more about your charity activities and your work with single moms and single dads in Malaysia?
Okay. So in 2016, I was challenged to go to the interior of Sabah, okay, and
Hmm.
to a place where there is no connectivity. That's the part. No running
Yeah,
water, no electricity. Okay, still okay, but no connectivity. That's where you think
Yeah,
your phone is just a camera. The phone
that's
does
terrible.
nothing.
because
Can
yeah,
switch
because as
off
I
the
said,
phone 10,000 times. It's still the same. There's no new message. Okay. It's just a camera. So, and
yeah,
when I was first invited there, then I was thinking to myself, no, I don't think so. I can survive. No, no, no running water, no electricity. Oh my goodness, and no connectivity. So once we go in, it's you cannot,
hmm,
you don't know what's happening at the outside world. Okay,
absolutely, yes.
Mm.
yeah, so I told myself, I'm just going to go one time as an observer. And the person who
Hmm,
invited me says, no way, you won't be an observer. So I went in, and because of Girls Empowered, I begin to be very sensitive over teenagers. So I saw this girl, this Dusun girl, and she was sitting there, and I asked her, oh, have you done your SPM already? Then she said, oh, just only. So I said, what do you plan to do? Don't
hmm,
know. So don't
hmm,
know is to get
yeah,
married, and the
yes,
cycle just continue. So
yes, right.
and that's how Elite started. So what I fell in love with the village. Can you imagine? I came back.
Hmm,
I came no, actually I came back thinking that it's nothing that much that I could do. But when I came back, I have a counseling session with a lady who is very well to do, very elegant, very beautiful, have a husband that loved her, but constantly suicidal.
Oh,
She
okay.
was sent
Wow.
to me, a stranger. She was sent to me. Then she so I asked her, very strangely with her, I didn't ask her like, so what happened? I kind of asked her like,
Yes,
what do you like to do? Then she said,
correct.
oh, I love to do quilting. I
Hmm.
said, really, quilting, sewing and
Yeah.
quilting. Then I asked her,
Yes.
she's a what's it? Okay. Then I asked her, so would you like to follow me to the interior of Sabah to teach
Hmm.
girls and women how to do quilting? Then she,
Ah, okay.
oh, that would be
Wow.
interesting. So then we kind of planned the trip. There's one factor that I forgot to tell her, that there is no connectivity, no running water, no electricity. So then later when I got the chance that I told her this, I said, are you okay? Do you still want to go? Then she said,
Yeah.
yeah, I can. So
Yes.
it was an adventure for a year. So she followed me in. That's how Elite started, do skill transfer. So we were there, and then from
Hmm.
there we walked. We followed the kids to school early in the morning. We found that the bridge that they were crossing to school, they would have to hike 1 hour to school, was not good. So we start to raise fund for the bridge. So when we start to raise
Correct.
fund for the bridge, we don't want the money to come into my account. So that's
Hmm.
how we
Hmm.
set up a board, which I'm not in a board. I'm just
Yes.
one that is out there. So there is a board to monitor, to be accountable to be responsible for, and then to do all the things that need for ROS. So
Hmm.
of course, then after that, many other clean water, building a road, many skill transfer like woodwork, goat and chicken farming and all that. So then comes
Yes.
NPO. I cannot
Hmm.
travel anymore, so cannot go interstate. So I'm
Yes.
stuck in my home. And then what could I
Wow.
do? That's
Yes.
when the food supply comes. So we got our letters as NGO. We get the letters and we start raising
Hmm.
funds for food packs. So and to these food packs, we want to give these food packs, not like oh, here you go, your food pack. No,
Hmm.
we want to really hear the stories, that how people are going through, what they're going through. We hear, how are you? What happened? How could we help you? So they have to tell a little story. So when we send and we talk to them, and
Hmm.
that's where we find out. So we have this lady who says, if can, I don't want your food pack. can
Right.
you can you help me? She's a single mother. Can you help me? These hands of mine can do much. It can cook, it can sew. So we try the food. Wow, delicious. Then she can
Yes.
sew, and then we start making face masks, which Ethel
Okay.
is our supporter.
Yes. 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 Of course. Yeah. I have two of those of yours. Yeah. I have two masks of
Yeah.
those.
Amazing.
Yeah. The
And
beautiful and very very glamorous ones, Cecilia. You should get it
Wow.
from get it from
Yeah,
ours.
yeah.
Very
Yeah, I would
glamorous
love to.
looking masks. Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to
and
have a
then
look.
we have
Yeah.
another single mom that makes biryani, and then we have a single mom that have 6 children. Husband is in jail, so
Okay.
considered single mom lah. And she has
Hmm.
to, do this. So we gave her a small startup capital, and then she
Okay.
started food business. Then we have a single dad. All right.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then we also say I have a single dad which actually works part-time, lost his job. So, and
Ah.
then his small phone have to be shared by the 3 teenage children for online classes. So we
Okay.
get him tablets, and then we send food groceries to one guy, and he was as in the chat, he was telling us that, these groceries that you're giving me, I'm not going to be cooking it for my
Hmm.
consumption. I'm going to
Yes.
use this and buy a little bit with my savings, buy a little bit of meat and start to
Hmm.
do kebab business at
Okay.
home. Wow,
Wow.
I
Wow.
thinking this is so
Amazing.
good. So we were
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
excited when we asked him, what else do you need? You know?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
after that, and then it went on. We buy tools, for some of them who says, oh, they can start doing some like home repairs and all that. So we were really
Yes.
excited to empower these people, so that they lost their jobs, they lost and we also have people who lost their business and now to be empowered back in a different way. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So wow. So what you're doing is actually instead of giving them the fish, you're teaching them how to fish.
To fish.
And
Yes.
yeah, and that's important, no? Because then they're fishermen for the
Yes.
rest of their lives. They will
So
know
the
exactly what to
groceries,
do.
so the groceries are just tools to get to
Mm.
know what actually they need. Tools to know who are they and what would they
Yes.
need. Yeah.
And what they can do with it. Wow, that is really good, Alice. And now,
Amazing, Alice. Yeah, I love
amazing,
what
yeah.
you do.
And I think now that makes sense. All that, all those bags and all that food and all your
Yeah.
sunrise and sunset photos, traveling God only knows where all. Wow, that is so
It's a
cool.
joy. It's a joy.
That is so cool. That is so
Yes,
cool.
yes.
No, Cecilia? Yeah, I'm very inspired.
Yes, I
I
agree with Alice. And Alice, I'm sure Alice is the happiest person in the world
yeah,
because,
yeah,
for being able to help people, seeing people, others happy, it makes you happy.
Yeah.
That is why happiness is not just about how you're happy with your life, but it's what have you done to the people and makes them smile and make them happy. So I think
yes,
that's the real happiness, as a human being. Yeah,
correct.
that's why I love what you do. You really impress me. Yeah, seriously, I love you.
Absolutely.
You are
No,
Yeah,
it's so correct, Cecilia, when you say that, when you
yeah,
make others happy,
yeah,
you're happy. So a lot of people ask me, aren't you tired? How to be tired when you're so
yeah. You
happy?
want to, yeah,
yeah,
What
exactly.
that
Yeah.
staying happily, you're never tired. So,
yeah, so true.
This is, yeah, the true happiness. Yes, from your heart. So you won't feel tired. Yes,
and then
I love this.
you're great. Yeah,
I love
remember
this. I love the vibe. I totally
the,
love the vibe.
yeah.
remember the lady that was saying suicidal, that lady I was telling you when we start off Elite. So after following us for about 1 year and a half, she
Okay.
suddenly realized, have no more depression, no more suicidal thoughts. That's what you
Yes.
see, Cecilia. That's it. When you start helping people, you forgot about all your problems.
Yeah. And
Exactly.
it's,
Yes. Yes.
Alice and Cecilia, sometimes the so-called problems that we create is so insignificant with what is actually you can do with yourself out there. I keep, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
because when you see
Yes.
somebody else, having such a, in comparison, having such a,
Yes.
having less and yet being so happy is 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 a
Yes.
is is a blessing by itself. And I tell people always,
Yes.
if you have the extra time and energy, please put it out there
Yeah.
because that's where you kind of really create something very constructive for yourself as well, no, for your life too. Correct?
And when you
You know,
say
Exactly.
it's giving, it's actually not giving, it's investing. I would say that
yes.
Exactly.
whenever we take out something, we are investing in another life. And
Mm,
the things that we are getting back is actually the joy, and we begin to find happy, joy is like happiness regardless of what is the situation. When we see
yes.
other people's situation, we begin to really appreciate what we really have. We don't have to worry about so many things when people are going through such a tough time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, so whatever we're giving is an investment actually, and we are getting back in terms of what cannot be seen but yet of great
Exactly.
value, like
Yes.
peace, like joy, you know
Yes.
yeah, things like that. Like
Yes. Those are
Miracles.
the things that money can't
Yeah.
buy.
I
Yes.
call it miracles. Call it miracles. You open yourself to miracles when you put that,
Yeah.
the energy of love and gratitude out on a day to day basis through actions. Wow. Which brings me to Cecilia. As we kind of also, we're going through our time clock, right? Cecilia,
Yes.
yeah, so being in the field that you are in, as an environmental change maker, because you are, in that space right now, that we've been talking about, Ida straws and
Yes. Yes.
your own contribution and your own work in that space of environmental change. What do
Yes.
you think? What do you think we need to empower the youth of Malaysia in order to create an empowered
Mm,
community? What do you think we need, to empower the youth of
um,
Malaysia?
uh, yeah, I think the youth are the backbone of our nation. So
Hmm.
it is really important for young people, to lead, And then, young people, they constitute a large part of the world population. So they have to live longer with the consequences of the current environmental decision.
Correct.
So young people, they can play an active role, always play an active role. So in protecting and improving the environment. So they can also change their lifestyle and how it affects the environment. And I think they can also, practice and make their homes, schools, and youth organization more environmental friendly by
Right.
adopting or by adopting or practices more environmental friendly habits.
Correct.
So
Yes.
and engaging the youth in the environment also protection not only creates a direct impact on changing the youth behavior as well and attitude, but also possibly to influence the older generations like the parents.
Yes.
So the youth should take. I think the youth should, they are more easier to cause an impact for our future. Plus, nowadays the world has gone digitalizations. So by sharing and spreading, the importance of all this plastic pollution is not that difficult compared to last time. So they can
Correct.
always actively share on social media.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, you're right.
And so to create more awareness, so yes, so
So
people
create
are
small,
more aware
small.
of all this
Yes.
cause and effect.
So create small acts of change,
Yes,
right? Like in terms of
exactly. Yes,
beginning it from home, garbage segregation, dry waste,
exactly. Yes,
wet waste, right? Begins at
yes,
home.
yes,
Making sure
yes,
that the water bottle that you used, for water, can be recycled. So instead of just buying, water off the shelves, right?
exactly.
Correct, and then dumping
Yes,
the bottles everywhere. Maybe you
yes,
can carry
yes,
water from home, right?
yes,
And
yes,
yeah, I
yes,
think
yes,
all these acts, the small acts of change can
effort.
can
Yes,
become
yes. It create a big impact to our environment.
yes, yeah.
Yeah, as simple as we take it a cigarette box. So we take a cigarette box as an example. Many
Hmm.
people, they do not know actually. Once you throw a cigarette box into the ocean, it takes like 10-20 years
Yes,
to decompose. Just for your own convenience, you throw the things like that. And for plastics, 200 years to decompose,
yes,
in the ocean.
correct.
So we're not talking about, this after these plastics are being disintegrate into
Hmm.
microplastic, and they can be eaten by the marine life. And eventually we eat the fish and it yet come back to us.
Yes,
So,
yeah.
that's
Come
the
back to us.
chain of, the life. So we really have to look at this plastic pollutions in a very serious way. So I really hope more and more organizations and and the government, we should really stress on this issue. It's really important. Yeah, it's
Yes,
really important for our
and
future.
yeah. And on this note, I must do a big shout out to the Interceptor, which I believe is currently in Malaysia, cleaning up Malaysia's rivers actually. And I was quite surprised to understand that the rivers are so polluted in Malaysia.
Yes,
A diving community in Labuan as well, and they also told me that the ocean beds where they take divers, to dive, are full of plastic waste in the ocean. And I was completely surprised, saying, "What are you saying?" So I think these are all very conscious efforts, as even being tourists, right? To make sure that whatever
yes,
garbage we take to the beach, to the ocean, to the river, don't land up, in the
yes. Pack it and
oceans and
bring it
rivers.
home with
Bring
you.
it
Yes,
home. Bring it
yes,
home and dump it into, your
yeah, and do the
segregate.
sorting.
Do the
Yes.
sorting, segregate
And
the wet
one more
waste.
thing, yes, I would like to share it. Like just
Yes.
previously, I was a cabin crew, and I was very thankful that I got an opportunity to actually visited Japan for many times. And if you
Hmm.
had been to Japan, maybe you will realize, it's very hard to find trash bin in Japan. But you can only
Okay.
find trash bin in like maybe vending machines or convenience store. You can find very limited trash bin, but yet the country they maintain so well and they're so clean. Reason being is, they have this practice and habit to bring the trash home. They bring the
Yes,
trash home by themselves. So they never, throw any rubbish outside. It is their own responsible and own responsibility to do the
right,
sorting when they're back home. So
right,
yeah, this is one of the things that I really, salute what they have been doing. Yeah.
right. Lead
So
by
I think we
example.
should do this as well. Yes, they lead.
Lead by
Yeah, very
example.
good example. Yes,
Lead by
yes,
example. I think same thing for
yes,
Singapore, same thing for the Netherlands, same thing
yes.
for
In
Sweden, because
Taiwan,
they're so
yeah,
environmentally conscious,
conscious.
and right
Exactly.
from the
Yes,
adult to the kids know exactly what is their role in saving saving the planet, because we live on it, right?
exactly. Yes.
We live on it, correct? Great. Alice, what do you think? What do you think, do we need to empower the youth of Malaysia in order to, create an empowered community in the spaces, especially in the spaces of the work that you do?
I think we need to remove traditions that limits them, and
Hmm.
then we need to have
Okay.
an open mind to listen. So
Okay.
because now they are so innovative, they grew up in a different environment. So
Hmm.
and it's really so good to be listening to them, to give them a chance, give them a platform, give them a space to actually speak, so
Hmm.
then to know the challenges they are going through, to know what they have in mind to improve, to know how they
Yes.
see their world, how they see their days, how they see their journey, and then from there we come in as the anchoring part, but allow them to
Hmm.
fly, in that sense.
Yeah.
So and and I think that's empowering, rather than we try to put them in our the past success, to put them in
Hmm.
our own tradition, and then we kind of
Right.
limit them, and it can be very frustrating because their days, the things that they learn, the things that they are exposed to is so different. I mean, look,
Yes.
I can go
Yes.
to restaurants and I can see, toddlers playing with the iPad, yet we
Yeah.
don't allow them to move further from there, but yet we
Yes.
give them this at a young age, and not
Correct.
and not wanting to listen to them when they are telling us, these ideas, and we think that it is crazy, we think that it does not make sense, but sometimes the thing that didn't make sense is the one that is a new innovation. It could be, we do not know. So I think a
Hmm.
listening ear, and not having to box them up with past traditions, yeah, I mean traditional,
Wonderful.
past success, and yeah, and then we give our opinion as an anchoring part. I think that would be good.
Wow. That is wonderful,
Amazing.
ladies. Very
Yeah.
wonderful. Yeah, awesome. I love this. I love the fact that Cecilia has a point of view, Alice has a point of view, and the fact that we all understand that all of our actions begin at home. Actions of change, correct? I mean, we all have to agree that,
Exactly. Yes.
because
Yes.
when
Yes.
if you have young people, who live with us, then you lead by example. If you have young people that you work with, again you lead by example, is what we're saying, correct? Awesome. I love this. Yeah, awesome. And on that note, I'm going to get some of our comments online. Arzmi is online from
Hello,
Sarawak.
beautiful
She's
ladies.
saying, hello, beautiful ladies. Hi. Good to see you. Good to see you. And thank you for being online with us. I have Lulu Fortis from Goa. She said, yeah, she says, do it when you can to others. Don't regret later saying I could have done it. I completely agree.
Yeah.
She means this in terms of, actions and change. If you can do it, do it.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that you don't say in hindsight, oh, I should have done this. Oh, I should have done that, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, she also says, good going, Ethel Da Costa. Yes, Lulu. Good going indeed. Thank you. Thank you for being part of Heart to Heart Conversations. Yeah, Azmi also says, I love the line that sharing happiness to others is investment instead of giving. I completely agree. Alice, I love that. I really love that thought of yours, that it is not giving, it is investment. And your whole, everything that you think and look at, the concept of giving changes when you look at it as investing into something or somebody, right?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. Awesome. This
Agree.
has been,
Yes.
yeah, this has been a wonderful heart to heart. I have completely enjoyed the conversation.
Me too.
Me
I'm,
too.
yeah, yeah. I'm very sure that all our, all
Yeah.
our friends who have been online have also enjoyed it. Cecilia, thank you for making the time. I know you have a baby that you have to go look after.
My pleasure, Ethel.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Well, joy.
Thank you.
I can hear she was crying.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, of course. And Alice, of course, yeah, always a pleasure. Always a pleasure, meeting you in person, and of course, meeting you online and having you share so much of your
Yes,
information with
exactly.
girls, yeah, with Girls Empowered and with the community elite. I am here to help you, and you know that, right? I've
Thank
shared it in the past also with you in any which way that I can. And I'm, as I extended my support to Cecilia too, because environmental,
you.
thing is very, very close to my heart.
Yes,
Yeah, very close to
yes,
my heart.
yes.
It's
Alone we can't do much, but
Yeah.
with
Yes.
everybody do a little bit of contribution, it makes a big impact in our
makes a
life and
makes a
environment.
huge impact.
So yes,
Makes a huge impact.
yes.
To all our friends online, please reach out to Cecilia and please reach out to Alice. In our comment box, you can drop your contact, you can drop your information. Cecilia and Alice also will reach out, and
Yes.
contact and communicate there. Both the ladies
Yes.
require help in whichever
Yes.
way that you can support, right? Yeah, in whichever
Yes.
way
Yes.
you can support, right? I'm sure Alice always needs someone to carry all those big bags of hers that she lugs everywhere across, right? And Cecilia could be helped by supporting her rice and tapioca straws. How wonderful,
Yes, yes.
and you ensure that you have less plastic and less paper wastage
Exactly.
going to
Yes.
Yes.
landfills,
Yes.
right? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, do
great.
proper waste management. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Cecilia, thank you so much for giving me
My
your time.
pleasure.
And Alice, thank
Thank
you
you,
so much
Ethel
for
and
giving
Alice,
me
and really
your time.
pleasure to have both of you.
Yeah,
Yes.
It's
thank
a
you. Thank
blessing.
you. Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. And
Yeah.
ladies, more
Thank you, and
power.
hope we can
More
really
power to
catch up in
us.
person. Yes.
More power to you.
Yes.
More power to
Keep
Alice.
going.
More power to Alice.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a great night.
Okay.
And of course, I'm going to stay connected.
Mm.
And do share the video when
Yes.
it's out with all your
Okay.
friends, right? So we can also,
Definitely.
take the message across to wider audiences and across communities where we can your
Yes.
work can help create great positive change. Yes to
Yeah.
Malaysia. Yes to Malaysian women making a difference. Yes, Malaysia,
Yay.
Yes,
Malaysia
amazing.
bully.
Okay.
Yes, Malaysia Bule. Thank you,
All
guys.
right.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank
Bye
you.
Take
bye.
care. Yeah.
Yes. See you.
Bye.
And have
And
a
good
great night.
night. See you.
Good
Yeah.
night. Good night, Cecilia. Good night,
Good
Alice.
night.
To all my friends who have been part of this wonderful conversation, heart to heart, with Ethel Da Costa, Leadership Soul series, I am so happy that I had these two very empowering, enthusiastic, happy women to be part of my heart to heart conversation today. As I said, I'm constantly inspired by, by the guests who I bring online and then have their stories shared here and have your comments, also um, inspire and empower me as well. So thank you very much for being there with me today on this lovely Sunday evening. A great hello to my friends in Malaysia and to my friends in India. Heart to Heart with Ethel Da Costa is brought to you in association with the Mac Clinic Malaysia. Thank you to the Mac Clinic team. Thank you to Dr. Hugh in particular for being such a champion of what I do and what we do together. To all my friends out there, be strong, create change wherever that you can through leading by example. Have great love in your heart. Know that giving is an investment. I love it. I really love it. It makes me look at everything in such a different light. Giving is investment because it comes back to you 100 times more, and that's creating great karma as well. I love you. Thank you for your birthday wishes. I've responded to each one of you who have sent me birthday wishes. I've had a great birthday celebration. They still continue, I think, till the end of September. To all my friends in Goa, thank you so much. I love you. Love to all. Good night.